All right, let's jump over to topic two. Let's talk about music. Let's talk about WWE music because there's been a little bit of, well, not recently, but also recently, like over time, there's been all this hullabaloo about WWE music nowadays and like, oh, Def Rebel's ruining stuff and it's not that great. And to an extent, I agree, and to another level, I'm like, I don't know if it's that bad. We're going to be on the negative side of history today, at least for the opening part. Talk about WWE themes and kind of bitch and moan a little bit about like why are we changing good things when they don't need to be. So there's a few themes recently as I've watched week to week, which I've heard different adaptations or changes to, and I'm like, I don't understand why this is happening. And the most particular case I can think of is NXT call-ups. Whether, we got the draft coming up, probably, once this episode releases, that would have been all over and done with. But with either people getting called up during the drafts, or you do Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce doing these contract call-ups for these superstars, like a Tiffany Stratton, like a Braun Breaker, I guess a Carmelo Hayes, technically, he's kind of been that in-betweener. For some reason, music gets changed, and it's like, what are we doing here? Now, when Vince was still there, and I hate to bring his name up, but when he was doing the main roster stuff and Triple H was kind of doing the NXT stuff, it made a little bit more sense. Vince doesn't, to my knowledge, didn't really watch the NXT stuff and didn't really keep in touch with it all that much. He's just like, I need so-and-so. All right, cool, we'll go. It seems like there wasn't a lot of synergy there. And now it seems like it is there. You get a lot of crossover between the brands. Obviously, Shawn Michaels running NXT now, Triple H running the main shows. It seems like there would be more elements of synergy, and we've seen it here and there. And to have these people come up to the main roster, have their momentum, have these characters set in place, these music, these themes behind them, they're like, oh, people know who this is when this theme hits. To have them change it when they come to the main roster has been very confusing to me. Now, I know you're probably like, well, Braun Breaker's theme isn't that much different. No, but it's different enough, and it's like, why? Why are we trying to hit the reset button? Why not just try and keep that momentum from what these people were doing in NXT, gaining their popularity to go there? Like, I want you to think about this. If you watch NXT, think of Trick, right? Trick Williams. He's got that solid bass tone song with him, and now the NXT audience has made this chant with it of whoop that trick, as his theme is coming out, or as he's coming out to that theme. Think about if they modify that slightly and don't keep that bass hit, the rhythm, whatever it is for some reason. You're just taking what you already had with Trick, and you're like, nah, let's do something different. Let's shake it up so people can know even less of him and not recognize that. And then the more, I hate to say it, casual, just like I tune in to the main roster, just the pay-per-views. I don't know the NXT guys because that just never rung my bell or really made me interested. It's one of those things where the hardcore people who watch everything, or a decent chunk of everything, they should be the ones to facilitate the energy to the people who don't know so-and-so and be like, oh, this person's important. Perfect example, WrestleMania weekend, right? You have people show up on the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. It's a big thing we've kind of made in the fan thing of like, oh, this is going to be fun. People show up, call-ups, blah, blah, blah. Those are typically your hardcore, the hardcores, because it's the layover fans from WrestleMania that are still in town. They're going to go to the show, and they are from all over the world, right? So you get that separate energy of like, they don't get to see a show all that often. It's this big combination and amalgamation of fans that are really hyped and from the weekend and hyped for the show, and they're typically your hardcores. I don't know if a casual wrestling fan would fly from real far away over to the States to see the show. Now, granted, you might, and if you do, no worries there. Enjoy your time. Do your thing. But typically, these are the people who watch everything. So when they see an Ilya Dragunov show up on Monday Night Raw, they're like, oh my God, this is happening. They're excited. And then anybody else on the show or anyone else at the show who doesn't know who that person is. They're like, oh, well, this person's reacting, or a lot of people are reacting. This person must be a big deal. Think about it with Royal Rumbles too. Those are hardcore people too. You get the fun, exciting entrances with the countdown. And then you're like, oh, well, I don't know this AJ Styles guy, but everybody's like freaking out that he's showing out number 3. Oh, he must be a big deal. Even if you didn't watch TNA, you didn't watch New Japan, because there are fans that do that. They're just like, nope, WWE is my lane. Totally fair. There's a lot of WWE content to watch on its own too. So, it's hard. It's hard to keep up with that stuff. Why would you try and do other stuff? If you do watch other things, fantastic too. But with the theme music, that's like your base element of instant recognition. I think we talked about this in the Royal Rumble discussion. I know that's been a discussion for the while now. Is it gets hard at points to be like, who's coming out to the ring right now? Because some of the music is just so generic that you can even see it in the Titantrons. They just have to put their name there and not be Titantrons of old of like, oh, this is them catching their finisher here, or this is them hitting this move, or dancing around, or doing whatever. It's just like Piper Niven, Tegan Knox, Asuka, like whoever it is. It's just name. So people can go, I don't know who this is. Look, oh, it's so-and-so. Now I can be excited. It shouldn't be that way. We should think of themes like as this big excitement filler. And not to say that there aren't themes still out there, but that's the point. Think of a Cody Rhodes. Think of a Seth Rollins. Think of a Roman Reigns. Think of Jey Uso. Think of Becky Lynch. Think of Rhea. You hear a note or two, instantly oh my God, it's so-and-so. Let's get hype. Let's boo the crap out of them. Whatever it is. They've had a lot of hits, recently. I'm not trying to say everything's ass, but there's some that are just like, what? And maybe it's based on push. Maybe it's just like how frequently we see these people, or it's like, I don't recognize this theme because I don't see you all that often. But from a call-up perspective, those slight adjustments I feel like are working against them. Tiffany is a big one. I think that was a big change when she came to the main roster. I don't know if they've swapped it back. Johnny Gargano's was a weird one. I think the DIY theme works now, but just to have a whole new singer and like format for his song, why not keep it his old NXT Black and Gold one? I don't know. Once again, not trying to be like, oh, you can never do new music. No. If they're changing characters, they're doing a different role, whatever it is. Like, I think the new AJ Styles one, even though I've only heard it a handful of times, I think that one works for his new character. Like, it's still recognizable, has that similar beat to his old one, but it's different because he's a bad guy. That's fine. You're establishing a new song. It's not establishing a new person. So I don't know. It's this weird balance of do new themes, but do them when they matter, when they mean something. And I guess you could be like, well, Bret, it's a transition period. They're coming up from NXT, the developmental, so it is that transition period for them to get new song. That's fair. But it doesn't help that superstar, that wrestler, quote unquote, get over, brother, because everything's new. You should have it where theme song hits, people instantly recognize, and then get excited. It shouldn't be this dial-up internet, thinking process of like, what's going on? Oh, we're connected to the internet. Yeah, you should get out of that. It's not the glass breaks for Steve Austin. You're like, what? Immediately. The Rock, you knew immediately. Triple H, you knew immediately. Shawn Michaels, you knew immediately. Whoever it is, it should be that instant recognition, especially for these new people. You want to make it as recognizable as across the board as people who know who they are, to help facilitate to the others who don't know who they are, hey, this is someone to watch. It shouldn't be reset, get down to the bottom of the mountain, have everybody climb together. It should be somebody assisting somebody. Let's pull you up here together. Get hype. Obviously, it just takes a few seconds with the new music. It's not the end of the world of like, I have no idea who Tiffany is. She sucks. It's not that. It's just, why not help yourself? Why make it more difficult? Why go against the grain? That's just my thing. So, I don't know. TED Talk over. Music is music. Def Rebel is not the evil that everybody claims for them to be. It's just, some of them suck. Some of them don't suck. That's all. Just doesn't click for everybody. Well, everybody, this has been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. Short, sweet, to the point. In, out, see ya, goodbye. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode today, talking about Liza P, talking about the WWE music. It's been another episode of the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma9011. You can catch the podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you join on the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch it live, no worries. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, wherever you're watching or listening, if you could drop a follow, drop a sub, it would help us out. It does seem small, but does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Appreciate you guys hanging out today with me, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.